Hello grade 9 superstars, welcome back to Biology Revision, also known as the moment we realize our textbook had way more information than we remembered. Don't worry, today we are going through EOT-3 together in a way that actually makes sense. We'll cover human reproduction, fertilization, cell dividing like crazy, genetics, stem cells, skin, bones, basically your whole body saying, hey, I am complicated. Ready? Let's begin with the male reproductive system. Yes, biology is getting serious now. Let's start with male reproductive glands. The testes. The testes are where sperms are produced. Now, here's something interesting. They are located outside the body, in a pouch called the scrotum. And students always ask, why outside? Why not inside like other organs? Great question. Because sperms are very picky. They need a temperature slightly lower than the body temperature, below 37 degrees Celsius. Too warm. The sperms are basically like, no, not working today. That's why the scrotum helps regulate temperature. So remember, testes are for sperm production, whereas scrotum is for temperature control. Easy enough. Now let's follow the sperm journey. Think of this like Google Map, but microscopic. Sperm starts in seminiferous tubules. Inside the testes, then they move to the epididymis. That's like the training center when sperms mature and wait. After that, they travel through the vas deferens, then into the urethra. Finally, they leave the body inside semen. Let's say it together. Seminiferous tubules, epididymis, vas deferens, urethra. Because in exams, the order suddenly disappears from memory and your brain says, I definitely studied this somewhere. Now we must meet the hormone team. 3 hormones control testosterone production. First, GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. This hormone sends the message, everyone wake up, we have work to do. Then the pituitary gland releases FSH and LH. FSH helps sperm production. LH tells the testes to produce testosterone. And testosterone helps with puberty, deeper voice, muscle growth, body hair and reproductive development. So imagine it is like a school team, everyone doing their job. Now let's switch to female reproductive system. Egg cells are produced in ovaries. Inside ovaries are immature egg cells called oocytes. During ovulation, one egg cell travels into the oviduct, also called the fallopian tube. The oviduct connects to the uterus, and uterus is where a fertilized egg can develop into a baby. At the bottom is the cervix. Then the vagina leads outside the body. Quick memory tip. Ovary, oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina. Think of it as the egg travel route. A very important trip and definitely no luggage needed. The menstrual cycle usually lasts around 28 days. Not exactly for everyone, but that's the average. It has 3 main phases. First, flow phase. This is menstruation. Then follicular phase. The egg develops and matures. Finally, luteal phase. The body prepares in case fertilization happens. If fertilization doesn't happen, the body resets the cycle, begins again. Nature really said, let's make a monthly schedule and repeat it. Biology loves cycle. Water cycle, cell cycle, menstrual cycle, everything keeps repeating. Now the big moment, fertilization. A sperm reaches the egg. At the tip of the sperm is something called the acrosome. It contains enzymes. These help weaken the egg membrane. Eventually, one sperm gets in. Only one, because the egg immediately creates a barrier. Basically, the egg says, "That's enough." Entrance closed. Then sperm nucleus and egg nucleus combine and fertilization happens. One sperm, one egg, new life begins. Pretty amazing for something happening at a microscopic level. Once fertilization happens, the egg is now called zygote. Around 30 hours later, the zygote divides, then divides again, then again. Biology really loves cell division. By the third day, the embryo enters the uterus. At this stage, it becomes a morula. Morula means a solid ball of cells. Imagine a tiny microscopic berry made of cells. That's basically what it looks like. And all of those cells will eventually become tissues, organs, and an entire human body, which is honestly incredible. Now the placenta, very important. Think of it like a baby support center. It provides oxygen, food, nutrients, and removes waste. The placenta has two sides, a fetal side and a maternal side. The fetus depends on its survival for survival. So if the fetus could talk, it would probably say, "Thanks placenta, appreciate everything." And yes, placenta is definitely a word worth remembering for the exam. Human development takes around 266 days. Pregnancy is divided into 3 trimesters. First trimester, organs and tissues begin developing. Second trimester, growth happens quickly and heartbeat can often be heard. Third trimester, rapid growth continues, fat builds under the skin for insulation after the birth. So, trimester 1 is where the development begins. Trimester 2 is where growth occurs. Trimester 3 is finishing touches, like building a house, foundation first, then structure, then final details. Doctors sometimes need to check fetal development. 2 common tests, amniocentesis and chorionic villus sampling. Amniocentesis, a sample of amniotic fluid is taken, usually second trimester. Chorionic villus sampling, cells from chorion are taken, usually first trimester. Then cells are studied using karyotyping. This helps identify chromosomes disorders. So remember, CVS is earlier, amniocentesis is later. And both helps doctor learn more before birth. Now we move from reproduction to cells. And cells may be tiny, but they definitely create big exam questions. Let's talk about surface area to volume ratio. Surface area means the outside of the cell, the plasma membrane. Volume means everything inside the cell. Here's the important part. As the cell gets bigger, the volume increases faster than the surface area. That means it becomes harder for nutrients to enter and waste to leave. Imagine living in a giant house with only one tiny door. Food delivery slow, taking garbage out also slow. That's why cells stay small. A higher surface area to volume ratio helps cells survive more efficiently. Cells don't just sit around doing nothing. They grow, prepare, and divide. That repeating process is called the cell cycle. First comes interphase. This is the longest stage and it has 3 parts. G1 where the cell grows, S phase where DNA copies itself, G2 phase final preparation, then comes mitosis where the nucleus divides. Think of it like exam season. G1 learning, S making notes, G2 last minute revision, mitosis exam day. And hopefully everything divides correctly. Mitosis has 4 stages. Students usually memorize them with PMAT, PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. In prophase, chromosomes become visible. In metaphase, chromosomes line up in the middle very organized, like students standing in assembly. Then anaphase, sister chromatids separate and move apart. This is the exciting part. Everything starts moving and the cell prepares for division. Remember, PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Your exam brain will thank you later. Now we finish with mitosis. In telophase, chromosomes reach opposite ends. New nuclear membrane form. The cell is almost done. Then comes cytokinesis. This divides the cytoplasm. Animal cells pinch inwards. Plant cells build a cell plate. Same result. 2 identical daughter cells. Basically, the original cell says, I have done my job. Now there are 2 of us. Cells don't divide randomly. There's control. Proteins called cyclins work with CDKs, cyclin dependent kinase. These decide when the cells move forward. There are also checkpoints. Think of airport security. Everything gets checked. DNA okay, cell ready. Any damage? If something is wrong, the cycle stops. That's important because dividing damaged DNA can create serious problems. When cell cycle control fails, cells keep dividing and dividing and dividing. That uncontrolled growth is called cancer. Cancer cells ignore checkpoints. They crowd out healthy cells and tissues stop working normally. That's why checkpoint proteins are so important. Without control, cells act like students running out of the class before the bell rings. Complete chaos. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. 22 pairs are autosomes. 1 pair are sex chromosome. Females usually have XX. Males usually have XY. The egg always contributes X. The sperm contributes X or Y. So sperm determines biological sex. XX stands for female, XY stands for male. Easy marks in exam. During meiosis, something amazing happens, which is called crossing over. Homologous chromosomes exchange pieces like swapping puzzle pieces or trading snacks with friends at the lunch. This creates new combinations and that increases genetic variation. Variation is important because it makes every individual unique. Even siblings can look different. Biology keeps life interesting. Meiosis produces gametes. Gametes are sperms and egg cells. Body cells are diploid 2n. Gametes are haploid n. That means chromosome number is cut in half. Why? Because when sperms and egg join, the full chromosome numbers return. Without meiosis, chromosome numbers would double every generation, and we definitely does not want that. A karyotype is a picture of chromosome. Scientists arrange them in pairs, largest to smallest. Then they study them. This helps identify chromosome disorders. So if chromosomes are missing or extra, a karyotype helps detect it. Think of it like organizing books on a shelf. Except the books are chromosomes, and yes, organization is a part of life. So organizing things are important, just like chromosomes. Sometimes chromosomes fail to separate properly. That is called as non-disjunction. It happens during cell division. As a result, a gamete may get too many chromosomes or too few. That can lead to disorders. Everything depends on chromosomes separating correctly. Tiny mistakes, big effect, which shows how precisely biology really is. Examples: Down syndrome, extra chromosome 21, also called trisomy 21. Turner syndrome, only one sex chromosome. Klinefelter syndrome, 3 sex chromosomes, all linked to non-disjunction. So remember, Down syndrome, Down is equal to chromosome 21, Turner is equal to 1 X chromosome, and Klinefelter's is XXY. This is a very common exam question. Stem cells are incredible. They are unspecialized cells, which means they can become specialized, like choosing a career. A stem cell can become muscle, blood, nerve, many possibilities. Embryonic stem cells can become many different cells type. Adult stem cells usually repair nearby tissues. That's why scientists study them carefully. They help repair damaged tissues in the future. Pretty amazing, huh? Your skin is your body's largest organ, and yes, it's working all the time. The outer layer is the epidermis, below is the dermis, below that is subcutaneous layer. Skin protects you, holds water in, keeps harmful things out, and helps you feel touch. Your skin deserves more appreciation than it usually gets. Skin helps with temperature regulation, protection, sensation, vitamin D production. When you sweat, skin cools you down. When sunlight reaches skin, vitamin D production begins. It also protects against injury and germs. Basically, skin is like bodyguard, temperature controller, and science lab all at once. There are 3 types of burns. First degree, where cells in the epidermis are injured and may die. Effects are redness and swelling, mild pain. Second degree of burn includes cells in deeper epidermis die, cells in the dermis are injured and also may die. It affects in blisters and pain. Third degree consists of cells in the epidermis and dermis die, nerve cells and muscle cells are injured, skin function lost, healthy skin needs to be transplanted, no pain because the nerve cells also get damaged. Bones may feel hard, but they are living tissue. Outer layer is called as compact bone, which is dense and strong. Inside we have spongy bone, which is less dense. It contains marrow. Bone marrow produces blood cells. So bones don't just support movement, they also help make blood. That's multitasking. When bone breaks, repair begins quickly. First, blood clot, then soft cartilage tissues called callus, then new bone forms, healing takes place, age matters, nutrition matters, severity matters. So yes, milk and calcium really are important. Three important types of fractures. 1. Simple fracture. Bone stays inside the skin. Compound fracture. Bone breaks through the skin. Stress fracture, which is a very tiny crack on the bone. Athletes often get stress fractures, and every fracture heals differently. The body repairs itself step by step. Very impressive. Looking at the joints, there are 5 different types of joints. First, ball and socket joint. Second, pivot joint, hinge joint, gliding joint, and sutures. Ball and socket joints are generally found in hips and shoulders, and they have one bone which fits into a cup-like depression of another bone. The pivot joint, one example of the pivot joint is the elbow joint, where two bones of the lower arms meet. This joint allows person to twist the lower arm. In hinge joint, the convex surface of one bone fits into the concave surface of another bone. Elbows and knees are hinge joints. They allow back and forth movement like that of a door hinge. Gliding joint allows side to side and back and forth movement. The joints in wrist and ankles are gliding joints. The joints of vertebral column are also gliding joints. Sutures are joints in the skull. They are not movable. There are 22 bones in adult skull. All skull bones except the lower jaw are sutures, are connected with each other. Let's quickly review. If you are done with human reproduction, fertilization, cell cycle, mitosis, meiosis, chromosomes, stem cells, skin, bone, that was a lot. If your brain feels full, good. That means biology happened. Check if you can answer these questions. Difference between mitosis and meiosis. Take a pause to answer this in your mind. What is crossing over? Why are cells small? Functions of placenta. Difference between compact and spongy bones. If you can answer all these questions successfully, excellent. If not, rewind. That's why recording is amazing. Exams can feel stressful. That's normal. But remember, small revision every day works better than a panic the night before. Read, draw diagrams, say answers aloud, teach someone else. Thank you for watching Grade 9 Biology Revision. You worked through a huge amount of content today. Be proud of that. Keep practicing, stay curious, and good luck in end of term exam. You have prepared well. See you in the next biology lesson. Bye everyone.